Hello everybody, Cody here from Venomous Wargaming. Welcome to the first ever video in the series of reviews for codexes and indexes and what have you. So, starting off the series with Codex Heretic Astartes Chaos Space Marines, as you guys could see here obviously, and probably by the video title, just saying. So, as you guys can see, here it is right before me, so I'm going to go ahead and open it up, give you guys a full review. I'm going to try and leave out point values and stuff like that, give you guys a real reason to go and buy it, and I don't want to get into any kind of trouble through Games Workshop for showing off a little too much. So yeah, we're going to go right into it, and as you can see, I laid out a few models for you guys can see. So got the Brass Scorpion, Corn Lord on a Juggernaut, well now just a Chaos Lord on a Juggernaut, Demon Prince, and an old Metal Bloodthirster that I still use, the Demon Prince. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this open, I'll show you guys around. Alright everybody, so here we go with the fun stuff. So, opening up, you got a really nice little dioramic artwork going on here. So, I know you guys probably can't see it all too well over a video camera, but basically it just looks like Black Legion and a huge amount of raptors, a few hell turkeys, stuff like that, all fighting against Militarum Tempestus and what looks like Ultramarines? I can't really tell. So yeah, anyway, so we're going to go into fun stuff. So opening it up, you come up to your introduction and your table of contents. So as you guys can see, there is a hefty amount of stuff in this book. All the way from page 6, all the way to basically page 116 really, is all fluff. So plenty of story. Also one neat little thing is, as you guys can probably see down here, is it really starts off that once it moves through individual legions talking about what they're all about, their background, a very quick background. It's usually only 1 or 2 pages, nothing too great. If you guys want the full story, I highly recommend reading Horus Heresy novels and other Black Library novels. But as it eventually goes through the legions, it comes down to individual units and characters and stuff like that. And that's really neat because you get a really cool perspective on what it is every single Chaos Marine, Demon Engine, Demon is all about. So then you get to Scions of Chaos, it's just a little more fluff. I'll go through that with you guys. Then you get Slaves of Darkness. This is where you start encountering your war gear, all your characters, and all your data slates for every single unit that's in this book. And then you get to the very back, that's where you find your trait stratagems, your psychic disciplines, artifacts, traits, or excuse me, warlord traits, point values, and tactical objectives, which are very cool by the way. So we're going to go ahead and go through it. So, going through it, you got all this fluff in here. Just tons and tons of fluff. So you got Iron Warriors, World Eaters, Thousand Suns, all the details in Black Crusade, even the battle between Horus and the Emperor himself, pretty neat to read about. You get to read about the events of post-heresy, going through all these different events and all that stuff. You even get a whole section dedicated to the Black Crusades and get to read all about them. So anyways, like I said, just reading more and more and more through fluff. Good old Karn the Betrayer, oh yeah. So yeah, like I said, that's all that stuff right there. You even get cool little things just like the older codexes. So if you guys check it out, Renegades and Tyrants is the name of this section of the book. And these are little, obviously not all of the Renegade and Tyrant chapters, and well, Traitor chapters I should say. No such thing as a Tyrant chapter, I don't think. So you get like Blood Disciples, the Cleaved, the Purge is a very famous one. You even get the Red Corsairs, Crimson Slaughter, which the Crimson Slaughter actually has models. I don't know if the Red Corsairs have anything besides Huron Blackheart. I actually kind of want to look into that now. So you get all these dudes that are gone traitor post-heresy, and these guys are renegades and traitors. Like I said, post-heresy that were once loyalist and they went renegade. So very interesting. They actually have traits in the back of the book. I'll show you guys here in a little bit. So there you go, more fluff, and lots of more fluff. So go ahead and skip over this so you guys can all read this for yourselves at a later time. It's very cool though. There's a ton of fluff. You even get to read about Drachnian and the Talon of Horus. So Drachnian, in case you guys didn't know, is the demonic sword that is wielded by Abaddon, the Despoiler. So basically, I'll actually read it for you guys. So Drachnian is an ancient entity of infinite malice. The cryptical seers of the Eye maintain that the creature was born from the first act of murder. So that is actually pretty cool. If you guys go and read Master of Mankind, the book in the Horus Heresy takes place from the Emperor's perspective, it says that exactly. Anyways, the truth is lost in the mist of the Imperium's prehistory, but the demon itself is still very much at large. The arcane blade born by Abaddon contains the bound essence of Drachnian. Indeed, some say that the sword is composed of nothing else, that it is a writhing warp entity in a different form. Whatever the truth, the blade can rend reality apart wherever it strikes. Drachnian rips through steel, flesh, and bone like a hungry ghost, making a mockery of physical armor. It was the blade Drachnian which Abaddon used to hew open the gates of Cromarch's citadel, in doing so disrupting the nullification fields with which they were reinforcing the fabric of real space. It was this same blade that Abaddon used to impale the great technomandrite of Danth, thereby sealing the fate of the anti-empiric Lemuel cluster. Legend has it that those its slaves have their souls consumed by the magic of the sword. The screaming faces of 1,000 victims can still be seen twisting and churning within the blade, even as it hacks down its next victims. Ugh, can't talk. So yeah, very cool. Abaddon the Despoiler's fluff. I think you guys know where the Talon of Horus comes from. So yeah, you even get all your demons, well, demonic troops really, and your heavy metal little pictures of models. Very cool stuff, people. So anyways, moving on. Oh, too far. So here we are at the Slaves of Darkness page. So this is where you get to see your overall abilities as a Chaos Space Marine as well as Warrior list. So going over really everything, I'm sure you guys already know through Index Chaos that really you guys can kind of safely assume how a Legion works, very similar to a Space Marine chapter or like a Necron Dynasty, what have you. So you come over to Mark of Chaos. Unlike 7th edition here, Mark of Chaos really doesn't do anything except give the unit desired. The keyword of like Khorne, Tzeentch, Nervor, Slaanesh. So yeah, it doesn't actually give you a bonus like it did in 7th edition in the terms of like a straight up bonus of like +1 strength, a 5-up feel no pain, or as you guys may know in 8th edition, like a 5-up ignore wounds save. But yeah, so what that really does, it opens up the door for abilities you'll see later on down the road, and I'm sure I'll go over that with you guys when I find it. So as abilities go, everybody in this book basically has Death to the False Emperor as a generic rule. So on 6s, or well, to hit roll of a 6 in the fight phase, they basically get to make an additional attack against an Imperium unit. Pretty cool if you're fighting Imperials. If you're not fighting Imperials, well, then yeah. Demonic Ritual is basically the way Chaos characters can summon demons. So in matched play, it's a little lackluster. In open play, it's, yeah, it's great. So going into unit rosters, so here we go with the data slate Abaddon the Despoiler. He actually got quite a bit better with this book. In the Codex, he isn't that much worse, but in this he's a little bit scarier. Even notice he even has the War Master ability, which is if your army is Battleforged and Abaddon is your warlord, you receive 2 additional command points. So switching over to Fabius Bile, he's basically the Chaos version of an Apothecary, and that's the only thing you really get in that regard. You've got Karn, Lucius, Cypher, and the Fallen, further proving that the Dark Angels are indeed Chaos. It's a running joke I have, but yeah, bear with me on that one. So you got Huron Blackheart here, you got a Demon Prince. The Demon Prince hasn't changed. Well, really, nobody has really changed. Well, I mean, some people have changed, like Abaddon and stuff like that, but I'll go over it as I find it. So, you got your Chaos Lord in Terminator armor, Sorcerer in Terminator armor, stereotypical Sorcerer power armor, and you got a Dark Apostle, and a brand new unit, well, hero, HQ choice, whatever you want to call it, is an Exalted Champion. So really, he's got the same stat line as a Dark Apostle, if you guys are curious. And he can take, well, he can replace his bolt pistol with 1 item from pistols, combi weapons, melee weapons, and he can replace his chain sword with 1 item from either pistols or melee weapons. So you can have him like gun-toting, like the OK Corral scene, recreated all over again, or you can make him a melee machine. So, obviously his abilities are he has Death of the False Emperor. He has Aspire to Glory, which is you can reroll failed wound rolls in the fight phase for friendly Legion units that are within 6 inches of an Exalted Champion. That is very nasty. And he is very cheap points-wise. I'm not going to tell you guys what points he is. So like I said at the beginning, I don't want to get in any kind of trouble, but yeah, he's very cheap, let me tell you. And he's pretty good. You can give him like a Power Fist and a Bolt Pistol, and, you know, let him run through people. He's got 4 attacks. He's pretty good. And he hits on 2s. So, and his last ability is for the Dark Gods, so you can re-roll field hit rolls for this model if the target is an enemy character. So he is, you know, by all means, a literal champion of Chaos, and they love seeking out other champions to fight to the death and stuff like that, or unit champions, I should say, like Sergeants and whatever. Moving on, you still got the Warpsmith. Still got Chaos Space Marines, Cultist. Now, what's new in the Chaos Space Marine Codex is you can take demonic troops as your own troops. So you got Bloodletters, you've got Horrors, Plague Bearers, and Demonettes. Demons, well, demonic troops as a whole have actually become cheaper, ironically. Khorne Berserkers, nothing's changed. Rubric Marines, nothing's really changed. Plague Marines, nothing's really changed. Noise Marines, nothing. Chosen, nothing. Mutilators have gotten a substantial amount of points decrease. In the index for Chaos, they are the same price amount in terms of points at least. I'm not sure about power level off the top of my head. But they are the same amount in points cost in the index as they are as Obliterators, which to me didn't make sense because these guys are only melee. Obliterators have a crazy amount of shooting. I mean, at least now they do. And I was like, I don't understand why they're the same points. Well, they got a points decrease. I'm not going to tell you guys the exact points again, but they did get a dramatic decrease, so they're actually quite fieldable. And as you can see their stat line, they're pretty scary in combat with Strength 5, T4, 3 wounds, 2 up armor save with a 5 up invuln. They're 3 wound Terminators pretty much. And then you've got your typical Chaos Terminators who haven't changed. The Possessed have actually changed. They've now got a wound characteristic of 2. And I have 15 Possessed in my possession right now. Yeah. And now that they have 2 wounds, they're actually quite scary. And I also think that their Horrifying Mutations melee attack and the index is only AP 1 instead of 2. So yeah, I'm not too sure about that, but they did gain an additional wound, and that makes them surprisingly a lot better. I know some people were like, oh, it's only +1 wound, but that's actually very useful. Going over here, you got the Hellbrute, hasn't changed. Chaos Bikers haven't changed. Chaos Spawn is actually kind of scary in 8th edition. Raptors are with their Fearsome Visage, or Visage, I don't know how you pronounce that. Ability, units within 1 inch of enemy raptors must subtract 1 from their leadership characteristic. You take that in a Night Lords themed army, and raptors are just going to mulch people left and right. Warp Talons haven't changed. Havocs haven't changed. Obliterators are now Assault 4 shooting attacks. That makes them a lot better for their points. They're almost at 200 points right now. And, oh, actually, they're not the same power level anymore. They're 10, and Mutilators, I think, were 7? Were they? Yes. Wow, they're 3 more power. Okay, and they are almost at 200 points. So, yeah, their shooting attack is pretty scary. They can still teleport, and their 24-inch range on their guns makes them disgusting for teleporting in and attacking, especially since they're Assault. So you got Chaos Land Raider, which hasn't changed. Your Defilers, your Forge Fiends, your Mauler Fiends haven't changed. Your Chaos Vindicator, Predator, and your Chaos Rhino has not changed. And you got your good old-fashioned Hell Turkey. He hasn't changed either. The Khorne Lord of Skulls has actually gotten cheaper. And never personally have I bought this model. I don't actually own one. Because, you know, I got the Brass Scorpion over there. And there's a monolith in the chair. But, yeah, I don't actually own this model. But looking at it in 8th edition, because in 7th edition it was kind of eh. But in 8th edition it's fairly scary. And what's even better is I know a lot of people in tournaments say that it's like, I think it's 32 power level or 30 power level, I can't remember. They don't let you bring it if it's above that. This is 29, So you might see these in tournaments. So if you guys are against Chaos, watch out for it. If you are for Chaos, get one. So yeah, it's pretty scary. With a whopping 28 wounds, a T8 with a 3-up save and a 5-up invuln. And it heals a wound at the beginning of every turn, which is the same thing going on for the Brass Scorpion, at least. So yeah, it's getting pretty scary. And then you got your Forbidden Armory, which is basically your stat lines for all your weapons. So yeah, I'm just going to skip over that. I'm sure you guys probably know about all the weapons if you got Index Chaos. And real quick, going over the icons. So everybody can take icons now, infantry units at least I should say. So the Icon of Wrath for Khorne units is reroll charge rolls. So pretty good. Icon of Flame for Tzeentch is at the start of your psychic phase, roll a d6 for each unit from your army with an Icon of Flame. On a roll of a 6, inflict 1 mortal wound on the closest enemy unit within 12 inches of the model carrying the Icon of Flame. So, yeah, not too amazing, but hey, it can come into play, I guess. Icon of Despair for Nurgle is enemy units that are within 6 inches. Enemy units from this of any units from your army with an Icon of Despair must subtract 1 from their leadership characteristic. So yeah, I can see some synergy with that. And then you got the Icon of Excess for Slaanesh. So if a unit has an Icon of Excess, its Death to the False Emperor ability takes effect on any hit rolls of a 5 rather than a 6. So I would highly recommend you Emperor's Children or custom Legion guys that use the Emperor's Children rules. Slaanesh rules, I should say. You should definitely consider taking Icons of Excess whenever you fight Imperial players, if you're going close combat, that is. Icon of Vengeance cannot be taken by any of the God-type units, but they add +1 to all, +1 leadership to all models in a unit that has an Icon of Vengeance. So pretty neat. More fluff, Ultramarines and their Primaris counterparts completely surrounded by a host of demons and Black Legion. So yeah. And then moving into the real fun stuff. I know this is what you guys have probably been waiting for. So the Lost in the Damned section talks about abilities and Legion traits. So really, abilities are what the Chaos Space Marines got in this book is Despoilers of the Galaxy, which is the pretty much counterpart of the Codex Space Marines power. They basically have objectives secured, regardless of enemy models around them. So, if your army is Battleforged, all troops units in Chaos Space Marine detachments gain this ability. Such a unit that is within range of an objective marker controls it, even if there are more enemy models within range of it. That is substantial. If an enemy unit within range of the objective marker has a similar ability, then it's controlled by a player who has the most models within range as normal. That is pretty dope, if you guys ask me. So moving into Legion traits. So, if your army is Battleforged, all infantry, bikers, and Hellbrute units and Chaos Space Marine detachments gain a Legion trait, so long as every unit in that detachment is from the same Legion. The Legion trait gained depends upon the Legion they are from, as shown in the table opposite. For example, all such units in a Night Lord detachment gain the Terror Tactics trait. So, if your Chaos Space Marines are from a Renegade chapter, or if they do not otherwise have an associated trait, use the Renegade chapter's trait opposite. Shadowy Allies is a new thing, so the inclusion of Fabius Bile or Fallen units in the detachment does not prevent other units in that detachment from gaining a Legion trait. However, Fabius Bile and the Fallen units can never themselves benefit from a Legion trait, so that actually makes sense. So coming over to Legion traits, you got Black Legion, your Iron Warriors, your Renegades, your World Eaters, your Night Lords, your Emperor's Children, your Alpha Legion, and your Word Bearers. So, yeah. Very, very neat. So this gives everybody a little bit of taste of what it's like to run an actual Traitor Legion. So I play World Eaters, so I'm going to go ahead and go over what that is. And basically it's just the Butcher's Nail. So when a unit with this trait makes a successful charge, you can make one additional attack with each of its models in the subsequent fight phase. So that is very, very cool. Now the Stratagems. So one of the biggest ones is for one command point, we got a Chaos Boon, just like 7th edition. So you roll down here, and you got all this neat little stuff. So we've got a host of stratagems that you can use from this book. Some of them are quite good. Like a demon shell is basically you use a command point, and when your character fires with a bolt pistol, bolt gun, or combi bolter, or the bolt gun profile combi weapon, you make a single hit roll. If it hits, the enemy suffers D3 mortal wounds. If it doesn't, you suffer D3 mortal wounds, and that's right here. So pretty cool. Another one I really like is Veterans of the Long War. So, use this stratagem when a Heretic Astartes infantry or biker unit is selected to attack in a shooting or fight phase, excluding units from Renegade chapters. You can add 1 to all wound rolls made for that unit until the end of the phase. So guys, definitely utilize this if you love obliterators and things like that that hit really, really hard. So I'm going to definitely use that on my Khorne Berserkers, my obliterators, stuff like that. Bikers, not so much. But you could potentially mess someone's day up by taking a crap load of bikers and just unleashing salvos of heavy bolt, or not heavy bolter, but heavy bolt gun fire into an enemy. Because, yeah, bikes have a crazy amount of DACA on them now. So, yeah. So, as you guys can see, plenty of stratagems. They even got kill shot and stuff like that. Just, and line breaker bombardment, mind you, just like the Space Marines do. Come over here, you got even more, and this is where you get, right here is where it starts, you get your Legion-specific traits. So, like mine, for instance, for World Eaters, is basically use a stratagem when an enemy psyker manifests a psychic power within 24 inches of a friendly World Eaters unit. Roll a d6 on a 4-up, the effects of the psychic power are negated. Pretty neat. That's called the Scorn Sorcery. You got your Hereticus, Dark Hereticus discipline, sorry. So yeah, you got a few more powers. So all of them now are Infernal Gaze, Death Hex, Gift of Chaos, Prescience, or Prescience. I don't know how, whatever you guys really want to pronounce it as. I just say Prescience. 5 is Diabolical Strength, and Warp Time. So pretty cool. If you guys want to read over all of them, you guys can just pause the video. So I don't waste anybody's time, because I know a lot of people don't actually use Psychers, and a lot of people do at the same time. So, I mean, yeah, just going to play it safe. So, you've got the Mark of Tzeentch, which is the Weaver of Fates. Over here, you got the Mark of Nurgle, Miasma of Pestilence, and the Mark of Slaanesh, Delightful Agonies. So, yeah. Now, the really cool part is the Artifacts of Chaos. So, you got the Talisman of Burning Blood, the Eye of Tzeentch, Intoxicating Elixir, Pus Cleaver, the Axe of Blind Fury is back, the Black Mace is back, the Murder Sword is back. And then coming over here, you got the Eye of Night for Black Legion, the Cursed Crozius for Word Bearers, Flesh Metal Exoskeleton for Iron Warriors, Brass Collar Borgaster for World Eaters, Blade of the Hydra for Alpha Legion, Claws of the Black Hunt for Night Lords, and Bliss Giver for the Emperor's Children. And yeah, coming over here to Warlord traits. Got 6 Warlord traits in total for Chaos. Like one of them is the Flames of Spite right here. So if the wound roll for a melee weapon attack made by your Warlord is 6+, it inflicts 1 mortal wound on the target in addition to any other damage. Substantial indeed, folks. So then you got your Legion specific Warlord traits. Very cool. So yeah, definitely look into it if you guys are a certain Legion. For example, mine is World Eaters, and it's called Slaughterborn. Excuse me, by the way. Add 1 to your Warlord's attacks and strength characteristics each time he slays an enemy character, monster, or titanic model. So a little hard to get, but if you do get it, whew, you get nasty quick. You're not already really nasty. Excuse me, nasty. Good lord. Going back to relics, or artifacts, sorry. So, one thing that's pretty cool is, I'll show you the Axe of Blind Fury, for example. So right here it says Khorne model with power axe only. So rules is written basically how artifacts work is you take a model who has a power axe, you pay for the power axe, and then you, at the beginning of the game, you go, hey, this guy has an Axe of Blind Fury. Cool. You don't really have to pay for it. As far as I know, artifacts aren't worth any points. If I'm wrong, I'm about to find out if for some reason I find it in the back of the book and I haven't seen it the first 2 or 3 times I've looked through this book. So yeah, the Axe of Blind Fury, for example, you just take somebody with the power axe, swap it out, and go bam, he's got the Axe of Blind Fury. Actually, coming back to stratagems, Gifts of Chaos is a new stratagem where you basically pay 1 command point and you get an additional artifact of chaos, or you pay 3 and you get 2 extra artifacts of chaos. So yeah, all of them must be different though. You can't like give everybody a Axe of Blind Fury, for example. And rules is written basically for how artifacts work is if your army is led by a Chaos Space Marine warlord, you may give one of the following artifacts of chaos to a Chaos Space Marine character in your army. Named characters such as Lucius the Eternal already have one or more artifacts and cannot be given any of the following artifacts. Yep. Pretty cool. So, as I said a minute ago, note that some weapons replace one of the character's existing weapons. Where this is the case, you must, if you are playing a match play game or are otherwise using points values, still pay the cost of the weapon that is being replaced. Yep, so basically pay for a power axe and swap it over to an Axe of Blind Fury. So, yeah. And here we are with tactical objectives. So you got For the Dark Gods, Rise to Glory, The Will of Chaos, The Warp is Your Ally, Claim and Despoil, and The Long War. So overall, pretty cool. Yeah, pretty unique tactical objectives. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and flip over to the fluff side of the book again, and I'll talk to you guys for a minute. So, taking a look through the book, I really do like the way they wrote the book. It's pretty well written. A lot of people are a little confused, for instance, on with Khorne Berserkers and the Index, if you take on World Eaters, they become troops. I've read this several times from Games Workshop. The Codex does not replace the Index. If you want to use the profile for World Eaters, Khorne Berserkers, where they're a troops choice, you can. You don't have to use them as elites, but you have to be World Eaters if you're going to use them as a troops choice. Obviously, since I play World Eaters, I'm going to be definitely playing them as troops. That is just too good to pass up. So yeah. Overall, I think this book is very well written. I like it a lot. It gives Chaos that little needed extra boost, and I'm just seeing how this is written. I cannot wait to see how Death Guard comes out, or maybe eventually World Eaters themselves. That'll be really cool. Or Emperor's Children. I'm sure they'll get their own book, especially since Fulgrim is actually actively running around in the story, apparently, from what I've heard. At least, not actively, but apparently he's like rumored. There's like some giant serpent-like creature just wrecking shop on Astra Militarum. So, safe to assume that's Fulgrim. But yeah, just going through the book, it is really, really cool, guys. I highly recommend it if you're a Chaos fan, or to buy it just if you're not a Chaos fan and you just feel like buying it anyways. So yeah, pretty neat stuff. So, yeah, that's my review for Codex Chaos Space Marines, and here is a map of what the game, or well, the story in the universe looks like as of right now. So like I said, that's going to be my review of Codex Chaos Space Marines. So I do like it. I think it's very well written. It gives everybody that boost they really need. Things got cheaper. Some things got a good boost. A lot of things didn't change. And we got those really cool artifacts, stratagems, and new abilities. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Feel free to comment below if you guys have any questions, and I'll try to answer them for you as best to my ability. Feel free to talk to me all you want about this, and I'll let you guys know whatever I can find for you. Alright, everybody, so I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go now, and let you all mull over the details that I just unfolded for all you guys into this video. And I hope you guys enjoyed it, and happy wargaming from Cody here at Venomous Wargaming, and I hope you guys have a good one. See you later. Bye-bye.